So you just heard the title of the panel, which is Building a Better Compliance Program Strategy, and the names of the panelists. And we're lucky to have three distinguished E&C practitioners with us because, as we all know, programs don't stand still, and neither do the risks that the programs are designed to mitigate. So before I turn it over to the panelists to talk about specific examples of how they've built their compliance programs out and made them even stronger, let me turn to a few slides from our annual.
For ethics and compliance professionals out there, there is no substitute, I don't care how much data you have, for the relationships and the communications that you have with other parts of the organization. So I may see something on data, but honestly, I'm more likely to learn about something because I get a call from someone that notices something and says something. So I think I do worry a bit that this emphasis to quantity, and it's what Ritu said earlier, we need to keep the qualitative part in mind. This is just another tool in our toolbox, data. It's not a substitute for all the other things we've been doing for years.
That's a very good corrective.
No, that's absolutely correct. And you have to be at the table. You have to be working with your business partners. It's a combination. These are all levers that we can pull. Data is only one lever. Relationships are, of course, some of the most important levers, especially as you're trying to plan how you're going to grow your compliance team's function.
Ritu, any comments before we move on to the next topic?
No, I echo actually the entire sentiment behind both the use of technology and data as well as relationships. I mean, one thing that the pandemic experience taught us is how important technology is and how we still can be a slave to technology. I mean, how you just can't replace the human element from the equation. So I think for us, the learning has been that you are the master of technology and not the other way around. Like, just because I have used a fancy tool to send this communication out doesn't mean it's going to work, because people still are, we are still human beings. People still care about finding somebody who you can talk to. Now, you can meet them in person. Could you use a better digital medium to connect with them? Sure, you can. But that doesn't take away the fact that employees still want to find somebody they can trust. They want to operate in a system where they can confidentially talk about issues. They can speak their mind. They can raise their hand. And so I definitely echo that you have to use all these tools as your enablers, but remembering that the core, for us, there's a lot of stuff we go by intuition. I mean, the biggest issues we learn are not by, in fact, auditing, but because somebody told us. Somebody chose to tell us, hey, something is not looking right. And that's when we uncover our biggest issues. So I definitely think that you have to keep improving the levers you have, the tools you have, but keeping the core intact.
That's very articulately put as well, and not losing sight of the human factor and making sure that those relationships are in place, because, as people have said, they underpin trust trends. And one of the question is for thoughts on the amount of time it can take to get a baseline, just so that you can judge whether you've got a trend going on. Anyone want to tackle that? I can give the classic lawyer's answer, which is it depends.
Well, it does depend. I mean, so for instance, if you do a survey, that's a snapshot in time, and you can see results where the good results, the medium results, and the not so good results. But let's say how many people answered the survey. That's something you have to see over time. And you need at least a year to see from survey to survey. So it really depends on the data, but happily, a lot of the things you can see right away because you can see that snapshot in time.
And I think it depends on the nature of the metric you're measuring. So if you're looking at a performance indicator like a KPI, then yes, you need to spend enough time to know, okay, what's going to be our benchmark that we're going to hold ourselves accountable to so that you can
understand what the data is telling you.
Well, good. There's one quick question about can people who don't have access to computers view compliance content on their mobile phones? And we've written extensively about that.